Headquartered in Pietermaritzburg, BSI Steel is an AltX listed company that processes wholesales and retail steel products in South Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia and Mauritius. It has a market cap of 576 million rand and a price to earnings ratio of 9. BSI Steel, my hometown of Pietermaritzburg.
What a winner. Okay, so the story here is a steel merchant. So in 2005, 6, 7, we were doing all the World Cup stuff and the infrastructure program was booming and China was doing well and so on. So people were very positive about anything to do with construction and so on and so forth. BSI Steel, which is a Maritzburg-based player, as you say, but has substantial distribution capability in Gauteng, and there was also expanding, particularly into Zambia, came to the market. It was in that period that steel prices were rising. So the stock marks at the end of every 6 months made the earnings look good, and so they came onto the market, and it was one of those AltX class of listings. Didn't do particularly well thereafter, limited tradability, but I see it has kind of stabilized itself. William Battershill, the chairman and founder of the company, and his colleague, whose first name is Grant, yes, Grant McKenzie, they're the team that are running it. They just did an acquisition of a modest scale kind of steel merchant. So I think, times are tough for them, but as infrastructure programs and other pick up, and as construction begins to pick up, and we talk about that a lot, this is one of the sort of feeder companies that ought to do okay.
Rhynhardt, BSI Steel on your radar screen, and perhaps you can get excited about that African exposure.
Yeah, look, I think the African exposure is quite interesting. I think that is probably what they have to do to keep the profits growing. However, as I think Paul pointed out, the steel merchant business is, I think, even a worse business than being a steel producer. Margins tend to be almost paper thin. I think it averages about 5 to 10%. In very good years, they earn operating margins of maybe 12 to 15, and in bad years, they end up making losses. Now, BSI is in fact a very good company. I did take a look, and I don't think they've actually made a loss since they've actually listed, and it has been a very tough operating environment. So it's certainly a well-managed business, but it's again one of those industries that medium to longer term, you don't really tend to do very, very well. So, that I suppose answers the question.
Hot or not on BSI? We've got to go to alert in a moment.
Yeah, look, they've got a lot of competition. So ArcelorMittal has a 50% stake in Max Steel, and there's Cape Gate, there's Trident, which is part of Avenge. So steel merchanting is certainly a tough competitive thing. Plus they're the importers that bring in cargo loads the minute prices get out of whack. So I'm afraid for me, not really liquid enough and probably a little bit tricky, but I do get a feeling from talking to people around that there's some good news associated with the company.
In other words, not hot right now?
Not hot for me, but I can understand it's warming up.
Alert, sorry, Rhynhardt, I nearly skipped you on hot or not on BSI.
I would probably go in the short term. I think it could be quite hot because I think the share price is somewhere close to 75, 76 cents when I last checked. And, in the first half, they made 7 cents. And if they repeat the performance, let's just assume that in the second half, because they've got a March year end, so they will be reporting soon. And they have put out a trading statement saying that earnings will be up at least more than 20. So if they repeat the performance, they might make 14 cents for the year, which will take that P down from the 9 times you mentioned to 4 to 5 times. Plus they do pay a dividend. I think they paid about 2 cents in the first half. So if they do that again, they paid maybe close to 5 times to 5 cents for the full year. You get to a dividend yield of 5 to 6% also. So I think it could be worth a punt.
Hot or not? Hot or not, Rhynhardt? Simple question. It's hot. Good.